I come with no other agenda than desperately trying to help people who are in need. And I see that as part of my role.
And shy. When people think about the royal family, they often picture grand castles, elegant ceremonies, and strict traditions. But behind all of that formality, the members of the royal family are also just parents and children trying to live normal lives while being constantly watched by the world. For Kate Middleton and Prince William, their role as parents has always come first. They have been determined to raise their children with love, patience, and guidance, even while carrying the heavy responsibility of being the future king and queen. Among their children, Princess Charlotte has recently become the center of attention because of an unexpected transformation that has surprised many people around the world. What started as a shy little girl who hid behind her mother's side has now grown into a confident, stylish, and strong young royal. This transformation did not just move the public, it brought Kate and William themselves to tears as they reflected on how far their daughter has come. For them, it was more than just a change in personality. It was a journey of growth, love, and family bonds that made them proud but also emotional. When Princess Charlotte was born in 2015, she immediately became one of the most talked about babies in the world. Like her older brother Prince George, her first public appearance happened just hours after her birth on the steps of the Lindo wing of St. Mary's Hospital in London. At that time, many people noticed her resemblance to her grandmother, the late Princess Diana, who was also known for her reserved nature and grace. As Charlotte grew into a toddler, her body language and quietness reminded many of Diana. She often seemed shy during public appearances, hiding behind her mother, holding tightly to her hand, and avoiding too much attention. For Kate and William, this was not surprising. They understood that growing up under the spotlight was not easy, especially for such a young child. Instead of forcing her to adapt quickly, they chose to guide her gently. They focused on creating a safe, loving environment at home where she could develop at her own pace. This decision reflected their parenting style, which has always been more hands-on and family-focused compared to older generations of royals. While the monarchy traditionally placed duties before personal growth, Kate and William wanted to give their children the freedom to be children first before taking on royal roles. One of the main reasons behind Princess Charlotte's transformation can be traced back to the unique parenting approach of Kate and William. Unlike the traditional royal household, where children were often raised by nannies and saw their parents mainly during formal occasions, the Prince and Princess of Wales chose to be deeply involved in their children's lives. Kate made it clear from the beginning that she would not rush through the early years of her children's lives, even telling the late Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Charles that family came first. For her, it was more important to be present as a mother than to spend all her time on royal duties. This decision turned out to be a blessing for Charlotte. With the constant love, encouragement, and attention from both her parents, Charlotte slowly began to show more of her personality. Instead of being shy and reserved, she started displaying confidence, independence, and even leadership qualities. William has often said in interviews that he wants his children to grow up feeling normal despite their royal titles, and this hands-on approach allowed Charlotte to shine in her own way. Whether it was playing sports, exploring nature, or learning how to handle public attention, Charlotte always had her parents supporting her along the way. This gave her the strength and courage to step out of her shell, transforming into the bright young royal that the world now admires. Even at a young age, there were clear signs that Princess Charlotte was not just an ordinary royal child. At only 11 months old, Prince William proudly revealed that Charlotte had already started kicking footballs and seemed to have a natural athletic ability. He even predicted that she would become a very good footballer one day. True to his words, Charlotte continued to develop her love for sports as she grew older, often playing football with her father and brothers. By the age of 2, she could walk confidently on her own, but like most toddlers, she had her share of emotional outbursts. One memorable moment happened during a family trip to Hamburg, Germany, when Charlotte burst into tears and sat on the ground, refusing to board the plane. For most parents, this would have been an ordinary tantrum, but because of her status as a princess, the moment was captured by cameras and shared around the world. Still, Kate handled the situation with patience, comforting her daughter until she was ready to continue. As Charlotte got older, she continued to surprise people. She gained the nickname Meanie Fashion Icon after appearing at events dressed in elegant and stylish outfits chosen by her mother. Items she wore, from shoes to dresses, would often sell out in shops within hours, a trend that came to be known as the Charlotte effect. This showed that even as a young girl, she was already influencing people in ways beyond what anyone had expected. One of the most touching parts of Charlotte's transformation has been her role as a big sister. With an older brother, Prince George, and a younger brother, Prince Louis, Charlotte found herself in the middle, balancing both roles of being cared for and being the caretaker. From the time Louis was born, Charlotte displayed a protective nature toward him. She often guided him during public appearances, making sure he behaved well in front of the cameras and gently correcting him when he got too playful. This was especially visible during major events, like the Platinum Jubilee celebrations, where Louis became known for his cheeky behavior. While the public laughed at his playful antics, it was Charlotte who often leaned over to remind him to sit still or behave more calmly. This sense of responsibility showed that Charlotte was not only growing in confidence, but also in maturity. She was becoming someone her brothers could rely on. For William and Kate, watching this development in their daughter was emotional. It reminded them of how quickly she was growing up and how much strength she had gained since her shy toddler years. These moments of seeing her step into the big sister role made them proud, but also brought tears to their eyes as they realized how much their little girl was changing. Apart from her personality, Princess Charlotte's style has also become an important part of her identity. She has inherited her mother's fashion sense and carries herself with elegance far beyond her years. From her early years, outfits chosen for her became the subject of public interest. Shoes, dresses, and accessories she wore often sold out within hours, proving her strong influence in the fashion world even as a child. One memorable example was during the Commonwealth Games in 2022, when Charlotte appeared in a striped Peter Pan collar dress with her hair neatly braided. The dress became an instant sensation, selling out in less than 24 hours. For many, this was a sign that Charlotte was growing into a role similar to her mother, becoming not only a princess but also a fashion trendsetter admired by millions. However, what made Charlotte's style stand out was not just the clothes but the way she carried herself. Despite her young age, she displayed a sense of grace and confidence, showing that she was comfortable in her own skin. This elegance, combined with her playful and sometimes cheeky personality, made her one of the most relatable and admired young royals. For Kate and William, it was yet another reason to be proud, but also emotional, as they watched their daughter step into her own light. For every parent, there are moments when their child's growth becomes so clear that it brings overwhelming emotions. For Kate and William, one of these moments came when they reflected on Charlotte's journey from a shy child to a confident, glowing young girl. One such powerful event was her participation in Queen Elizabeth's funeral in 2022. Despite being only 7 years old at the time, Charlotte carried herself with dignity and composure that impressed the world. Dressed in black, she walked alongside her family, showing respect and maturity well beyond her age. Many people compared her to Queen Elizabeth herself, pointing out not just her physical resemblance, but also her regal presence. For Kate and William, seeing their daughter behave with such grace during such a solemn occasion was both heartbreaking and heartwarming. It reminded them of the challenges of royal life, but also showed them that Charlotte was growing into her role with strength and courage. These were the kinds of moments that moved them to tears, not out of sadness, but from the deep pride of watching their daughter transform into a remarkable young royal. As Charlotte continues to grow, she is not just shaping her own identity, but also influencing the future of the royal family. In 2022, she was declared the richest royal grandchild and even the wealthiest child in the world, with an estimated worth of over $6 billion. But beyond wealth, it is her character that stands out. She has already shown that she can balance the responsibilities of being a princess with the joys of being a child. Whether attending a Taylor Swift concert with her father and brothers, playing football in the garden, or delivering meals to vulnerable families during the pandemic, Charlotte continues to show the world that she is both relatable and extraordinary. For William and Kate, these experiences are priceless. They see not only a daughter growing up, but also a young girl who represents hope, strength, and compassion for the future of the monarchy. Her unexpected transformation has not only captured public attention, but has also deeply touched her parents, leaving them in tears as they realize how much their little girl has grown. Princess Charlotte's story is more than just about fashion, sports, or royal traditions. It is about growth, love, and transformation. From a shy child who once hid behind her mother's skirts to a confident, stylish, and caring young royal, Charlotte's journey has been remarkable. For Kate Middleton and Prince William, her transformation has been both inspiring and emotional. They have watched her grow, overcome shyness, take on responsibilities, and develop her own unique personality. These changes have not only made them proud as parents, but also moved them to tears as they realize that their daughter is becoming someone truly special. For the public, Charlotte represents the future of the royal family, a future that is full of hope, compassion, and strength. And while she still has many years ahead of her, her unexpected transformation has already left a lasting mark on her family and the world. One of the sweetest parts of Charlotte's transformation has been the way she interacts with her two brothers, Prince George and Prince Louis. Growing up in the royal spotlight can be challenging, but the siblings have always had one another for support. George, being the oldest, naturally carries the pressure of one day becoming king, while Louis is still known for his playful, cheeky personality. Charlotte, in the middle, has learned to balance her role beautifully. She often takes on the part of a guide, reminding George and Louis how to behave during important public events. At times, she even corrects George, showing that she isn't afraid to speak up when needed. Many royal watchers have noticed how she sometimes leans toward her brothers during ceremonies to give them gentle reminders. This shows that even at her young age, she has already developed leadership qualities. For William and Kate, watching their daughter display such responsibility is emotional because it demonstrates not only maturity, but also compassion. Charlotte is not just protective of her brothers, she is nurturing, which reflects the values her parents have worked so hard to instill in all their children. These interactions highlight her growth into a strong and thoughtful young royal, someone who values family bonds above everything else. As Princess Charlotte continues to grow, many people are curious about what role she will play in the royal family's future. She is currently third in line after her father and her older brother, George, which means she may never become queen. But that does not make her journey any less important. In fact, history shows that royal figures who were not destined for the throne often had some of the most influential roles in shaping the monarchy. Charlotte's confidence, grace, and natural charisma suggest that she may one day become one of the most beloved members of the royal family. Her ability to connect with the public, inspire young girls, and even influence global fashion trends already proves her wide-reaching impact. But more than her public image, it is her empathy and kindness that stand out. From delivering meals during the pandemic to carrying herself with dignity during her great-grandmother's funeral, Charlotte has shown that she understands the importance of service, duty, and compassion. For Kate and William, this realization has been emotional. Watching her step into her role, even at such a young age, reminds them of how quickly she is growing up. They may shed tears of pride and nostalgia now, but those tears also carry hope that their daughter will one day carry forward the legacy of love, strength, and resilience that the royal family stands for. Charlotte's transformation is not just a story about a child growing into confidence. It is a story about the bright future of the monarchy and the promise of a new generation that leads with both heart and courage.